He burnt his wife's pant for money. 3 months later, this happened. Lanre had been poor for as long as he could remember. Poverty was not just visiting him, it had rented a room in his life and refused to leave. Every morning, before the sun fully came out, Lanre would wake up, wash his face with cold water, and push his small bucket to the roadside where rich people parked their cars. That was how he survived, washing cars for coins. Some days, people paid him well. Most days, they insulted him and chased him away. He would return home tired, with his back aching and his hands smelling of oil and soap. His wife, Lizzie, tried to encourage him, but hunger does not listen to sweet words. That afternoon, Lanre came back home earlier than usual. His face was tight, his eyes restless, and his steps quick. He did not greet anyone. He did not sit down. He went straight into their small bedroom, shut the door softly, and began to search like a man running out of time. His hands trembled as he opened the drawer where Lizzie kept her clothes. After a short pause, he picked up one of her pants. His heart beat fast. Sweat ran down his face. He looked around again, like someone afraid of being caught by the walls themselves. Lanre quietly walked to the back of the house, where tall grasses hid the open space from neighbors' eyes. The ground was dry and dusty. He knelt down and began to arrange 7 candles in a perfect circle, just the way the native doctor had instructed him. He also told him that after the rituals, Lizzie would not be able to give birth to a child, but Lanre chose to go ahead with the ritual. The candles looked small, but to Lanre, they looked powerful. He placed the pant carefully in the middle of the circle, as if it was something alive. His chest moved up and down fast because he was breathing hard. Fear and hope were fighting inside his body. With shaking hands, he struck a match and lit the candles one after the other. The flames danced slowly, as if watching him. Then he set the pant on fire. As smoke rose into the air, Lanre began to chant in a low voice. "I have been poor for years now," he said, his voice breaking. "I am tired of feeding from hand to mouth. I am tired of begging. Today, I use my wife's pant for money. May I be wealthy. May the world hear of my name." He repeated the words again and again, louder this time. As the fire grew stronger, his legs shook, his mouth felt dry. He remembered the native doctor's warning clearly. Do not stop the ritual. Do not quench the fire. Let it burn till the end, no matter what happens. Just then, the sound of a motorcycle engine broke the silence. Lanre froze. His heart nearly jumped out of his chest. The bike stopped right in front of the house. Slowly, Lanre tiptoed away from the burning candles and peeped from behind the wall. What he saw made his eyes open wide and his jaw drop. It was Lizzie, his wife. She was stepping down from the bike, adjusting her bag and thanking the rider. Lanre's body went cold. His mind went blank. His wife was not supposed to be home at that time. Panic rushed through him like hot water. He hurried back to the ritual spot, confused and shaking. The pant was still burning. The candles were still standing strong. He thought of pouring water on it, but the native doctor's words echoed again in his head. If you stop it, your life will scatter. His hands hovered in the air, not knowing what to do. Before he could make any decision, the back door opened. Lizzie stood there. She looked at Lanre, then at the candles, then at the fire. Her mouth slowly opened. She gasped loudly. "Lanre!" she shouted. "What is this?" She pointed at the burning ritual spot, her eyes full of fear and confusion. She did not know yet that what was burning was her own pant. Lanre felt his knees weaken, his throat tighten. For a moment he could not speak. His whole body shook like a leaf in the wind. I can explain," he said, his voice shaking badly. Lizzie folded her arms and stared at him, waiting. Her eyes searched his face, trying to understand the madness before her. Lanre swallowed hard and lied quickly. He said he met a native doctor who told him to burn a handkerchief for breakthrough. He said it was just a spiritual cleansing. Lizzie looked at the burning cloth again, then at the candles. Something about it did not feel right. The fire crackled softly, as if mocking the lie. Lizzie's heart beat fast. She wanted to shout, but fear held her down. After a long silence, she nodded slowly. "This thing you are doing," she said quietly, "I don't understand it." She turned and walked away without another word. Lanre stood there, watching her leave, his heart pounding. The pant continued to burn until it turned to ash. When the last flame went out, Lanre fell to the ground, breathing heavily. He did not know if he had just saved his future or destroyed it. Days passed, weeks passed, nothing happened at first. Lanre still washed cars, hunger still knocked at their door. But slowly, strange changes began to appear. One man suddenly paid Lanre triple for washing his car. Another day, someone gave him extra money without asking. Soon, Lanre met people who spoke to him differently. Opportunities started opening like doors that were never there before. 3 months later, something unbelievable happened. That evening, a black Benz drove slowly into a large compound. The gate opened wide. The car stopped in front of a massive mansion. The driver stepped out. It was Lanre. He was wearing an expensive black suit, clean shoes, and a gold wristwatch that shined under the light. His body language had changed. He walked with confidence, like someone who had tasted power. Inside the mansion, Lizzie rushed to him and hugged him tightly. Her eyes were full of happiness and confusion. Their lives had changed so fast that it felt like a dream. Neighbors whispered, old friends bowed. People who once ignored Lanre now called him chairman. But deep inside Lanre's heart, something heavy sat there, refusing to leave. At night, when the mansion became quiet, Lanre would sometimes wake up sweating. He would remember the fire. He would remember the smell of burning cloth. He would remember Lizzie's shocked face. Lizzie, too, had started noticing strange things. She sometimes felt weak without reason. She had dreams where she was standing in fire, calling Lanre's name, but he could not hear her. She began to ask herself questions she was too afraid to ask out loud. One evening, as Lizzie arranged clothes in their big wardrobe, she noticed something. One of her pants was missing, the exact one she loved the most, and it was a gift from Lanre himself. Even though she left most of her things behind in the old house, she made sure she didn't leave all her undies behind. That afternoon, Lanre stood in the bathroom, staring at his reflection in the mirror. The man staring back at him looked rich, but his eyes looked haunted. The wealth had come, yes, but the price was still unfolding. A few months after Lanre's sudden rise to wealth, Lizzie's body began to change in a frightening way. At first, it was small things. She felt tired even after sleeping all night. Her head ached often, and food no longer tasted good. Then the weakness became worse. Some mornings, she could not even stand up from her bed without feeling dizzy. Her skin began to look pale, almost like the color was slowly leaving her body. Her cheeks sank in, and her clothes started hanging loosely on her thin frame. Lanre noticed the change, but he did not pay much attention. He was always busy, traveling, attending meetings, buying properties, and moving from one big place to another. Lizzie went from one hospital to another. Doctors ran tests, nurses asked questions, yet no one could say exactly what was wrong with her. Every result came back unclear. At night, Lizzie would sit up on her bed, crying quietly so Lanre would not hear her. She would turn and look at him, sleeping peacefully beside her, breathing softly, looking healthy and unbothered. That was when the pain entered her heart deeply. How can I be dying slowly while my husband sleeps so well? She asked herself in tears. As Lizzie grew weaker, Lanre's wealth continued to grow stronger. He bought more cars that Lizzie had only seen in magazines before. He bought houses in places she had never dreamed of visiting. He traveled often, sometimes leaving the country without even telling her properly. The man who once struggled to buy food was now eating in expensive places and laughing freely. But at home, Lizzie was fading. She challenged him many times, asking why he no longer cared. "Why are you so cold to me?" she asked one night with a trembling voice. Lanre avoided her eyes and told her he was stressed. He said he was working hard so she could travel abroad for treatment. He promised her things, but his actions showed something else. Slowly, his love dried up. He stopped sitting with her. He stopped holding her hands. He stopped asking how she felt. Lizzie would lie alone on the bed, listening to the sound of cars passing outside, wondering how her life turned into this nightmare. She felt used, forgotten, and empty. One night, Lanre went out clubbing with friends. The music was loud, the lights were bright, and the air smelled of alcohol and excitement. That was where he met Tracy, a young, beautiful lady full of laughter and life. Tracy admired his wealth, his confidence, and the way people respected him. They talked, drank, and laughed like they had known each other forever. One night turned into many nights. Lanre started spending more time with Tracy, than at home. On one of those nights, he completely forgot Lizzie. Lizzie kept calling his phone again and again. No answer. She sent messages. Nothing. After some time, his number stopped going through completely. Lizzie broke down on her bed and cried until her eyes were swollen. She called his name softly, as if he could hear her from far away. But Lanre was lost in pleasure, far from home, far from his sick wife, far from conscience. One morning, Lizzie was too weak to even cry. Her body felt heavy, like something was pressing her down. With shaking hands, she tried Lanre's number again. Still nothing. Her heart sank. That was when she decided to call her mother. When her mother arrived and saw Lizzie, she screamed and burst into tears. "This is not my daughter," she cried. "What has happened to you?" She held Lizzie tightly and wept like a woman whose heart had been torn apart. Without wasting time, her mother took her to church. The pastor listened quietly as Lizzie spoke through tears. Then the atmosphere changed. The pastor prayed and suddenly spoke with a serious voice. He revealed that Lizzie's sickness was not ordinary. He said Lanre had used her for wealth by burning her pant. He said her life force was exchanged for money. He said even if she survived, she would not bear a child, but there is nothing that God cannot do. Lizzie screamed loudly in the church. She fell to the floor crying, shaking, calling Lanre's name. "I trusted him," she cried. "I loved him." Her tears soaked the floor as the church prayed for her day and night. Far away from the church, Lanre was in bed with Tracy one early morning. Suddenly, he screamed loudly, his eyes opened wide, and he grabbed the shirt he was wearing and tore it into pieces. Tracy woke up in shock, shouting his name. Lanre jumped out of bed, laughing strangely. His laughter was not normal, it was wild and empty. He ran out of the house barefoot, still laughing to himself. Neighbors gathered, confused and afraid. Lanre had gone mad. The wealth was still there, but his mind had broken. Meanwhile, Lizzie slowly began to recover through prayers. Strength returned to her body bit by bit. The sickness left her, but the pain in her heart remained. When she was fully healed, she made a decision. She chose peace over marriage. She chose healing over love. She refused to get married again, choosing to serve God and help others instead. She forgave Lanre but never looked for him. Lanre's story became a lesson in the community. People saw how fast wealth came and how fast destruction followed. Lizzie's life became a testimony not of marriage but of survival. The moral of this story is clear. There is nothing that God cannot do. No shortcut is worth your soul. No wealth is worth another person's life. What is taken through darkness will demand payment in pain. But God's mercy is still greater than evil. God can heal, restore, and give peace even when humans destroy each other. Trust God, work honestly, and never sacrifice love, loyalty, or humanity for money, because riches without peace are the poorest life of all.